Hey everybody, welcome to Train Tuesday. I am your host Jim Wiggin, and tell you what, let me shut this down real quick. I was just having some fun playing with my new Genesis GP7, and these are in stock in a few weeks. So we'll talk about those a little bit more later. Tell you what, let's do this. Let's give you a sneak peek, and then we'll do some shout outs. Wanted to let you guys know that GP7s are going to be in stock in the next 2 weeks. All right, so without further ado, let's go and see who is joining us tonight on the live feed. And for you folks that are watching us on YouTube, thanks for looking us up. We broadcast every Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And we bring you the latest news on the latest items that are going to be available for pre-order at the end of the month. So I've got HO Scale Railfan. Alf is here. Wow, I haven't seen Alf since the 80s. We've got Mark. DG Model Works is in the house. Calculated Snipe. Eugene, Rick, Curly, Daniel, Harold, Robert, Rick, Terry, Frederick. They are all here to join us tonight. Real excited about joining you guys here on Train Tuesday. And like I said, I've been playing with this new GP7. Now, if you ordered one of these GP7s last year, you should be getting a phone call from your dealer real soon. They should be here about mid-December. And if you were at Milwaukee Train Fest a couple of weeks ago, you get to see some of these. Of course, I ordered the Bangor and a Rustic. And since I pre-ordered, I don't have to worry about not getting that Bicentennial unit as well as the two standard ones behind me. Now, as it is, we have GP7s this month. So if you missed last year's pre-order, you're in luck. It doesn't matter if you're somebody that models on the West Coast, East Coast, or in the Midwest. We've got a GP7 for you. We'll review some of the GP7s that we have for pre-order, but you've only got a few more days. Only have until Friday. So before we get started on today's items, let's see who else is joining us. I've got Kyle, Bob, John, Benjamin, Randall, Donnie, Terry LaFrance, Kyle, and who else is back there? We've got Harold. And I think I saw some other folks I haven't seen in a while. We've got Donnie. Mr. Reynolds is here. Not slow on the controller, just a lot going on. Brian Stackpole is here. Nice to see you. I was hoping to see you at Train Fest, but he is busy with his own shop. I'm so glad you could join us. So we're going to be talking tonight about a few different things. We're going to be talking about the Athearn Genesis GATC 2600 Airslide hoppers. Now, these are going to be part of the Athearn HO Athearn line. And let's show you what we're going to be looking at. Now, again, these are going to be part of the Athearn line. So they're going to have a lot of detail to them. Not quite Genesis level, but all the details that you're looking for. I'll give you a little bit of background on these. 1953, General American Transportation began building the Airslide covered hoppers. One of the two original configurations was the 2,600 cubic foot single bay with a 70-ton capacity. In addition to railroad-owned cars, there were several Airslides, covered hoppers leased by the GATC to sugar and bakery companies. Later, larger cars were introduced as railroads continued to improve their infrastructure to extend their useful lives of the smaller 2,600 cars. They would put these two together. I apologize. Microsoft did not update my information. Let's see if Microsoft will allow me to get the information that I need. It did not. Microsoft for the fail. So let's just go right into pictures. Let's go from there. So what are we offering this month? Remember last couple of weeks ago, I was talking about these in Santa Fe. We offered them in a later version. These here are going to be in the oxide brown. They're going to come in two different singles as well as a 3-pack. Let's see. I apologize. Microsoft has totally destroyed tonight's format. So we might have to go to something else. Okay, so apologize for that. Santa Fe had these particular cars here. This is based on a 1957 era paint scheme. And again, like I was saying earlier, these are going to be available as two singles as well as a 3-pack. So everything that we're talking about tonight, these are Pullman Standard PS-2 2003 covered hoppers. And they are available as two singles or a 3-pack. And of course, all of the road numbers are going to be different. For you B&O fans, we've got a 1971 era paint scheme. Then coming along into the 1970s, we've got Burlington Northern. It's about a mid-1970s paint scheme. Staying well within the 1970s, we have the Florida East Coast. Again, remember, these are coming in two singles as well as a 3-pack. Rock Island fans, we've got your covered hopper. Early 1970s, continued well into the bankruptcy blue era, and probably found life on other roads as well. And then lastly, we've got the Wabash. This is the 1960s. These lasted into the Norfolk and Western period. Of course, Wabash was a fallen flag by 1964. So these were early 1960s, but they did survive throughout the Norfolk Western era. So if you're modeling early Norfolk Western, you can definitely add these to your fleet. Let's talk about some of the features of these cars. They're going to have photo etched roof walks, machine metal wheels, of course, with the RP25 contours. We try to get all of the weight on these to match the NMRA specs. Of course, they're all going to have body mount couplers, and they're going to have the paint schemes representative of the roads during the eras that we advertise. Now, the minimum radius on these guys is 18 inches. These are perfect cars for you guys that have a home layout. Maybe you have a small shelf layout. If you like to go to shows with a modular setup, these are, again, perfect for that. Again, these are going to have all the details that you're looking for, not quite as much as the Genesis line, where the Genesis line has the braking and the piping, the cut levers, the air hoses, things of that nature. But all the other details that really stand out on their average freight car, they're all going to be there. And they're perfect for operations. Now, again, these are Athearn HO. So for you guys that are modeling an N scale, stick around. I do have a treat for you in a little bit. But let's see. Let's go back and see what kind of comments we've got going on. Even StreamYard's a little slow tonight, so it must be a PC thing going on tonight. Eugene's happy to see the Wabash. Yeah, a lot of fans of the Wabash. Here's something for you guys to take note, little programming note. There were still some of these hoppers in frac sand service on the BNSF in the early 2000s. Interesting. A lot of guys really happy about the Wabash. Now, again, you've only got till Friday to pre-order these. It's kind of a short month because, you know, November, at least at Athearn, is very busy. We've got Train Fest. Of course, we've got a holiday for those of us in the United States. Our Thanksgiving is going to be on Thursday. Like I said, you Canadians, you already had it in October. So we're going to be out of the office on Thursday. Some of us will be back in the office on Friday. But you have until Friday, the 25th, to go to your dealer and pre-order anything that you see here tonight. All right. Well, let's see what else we've got. And again, these are great cars for you guys that model HO 50s, 60s, into the 70s, not so much the 80s. Although, remember what one of our guests just said. BNSF was using these for frac sand service up until the early 2000s. All right, so what else do we have to share with you tonight? I think we've got some new boxcars for you. We do. Now, remember the 50-foot FMC 5327 plug door boxcars that we released a few years back? Well, that is what we're going to show you tonight in both HO and N scale. But I'm really excited about the HO ones because they have recently been redesigned. So here's the one that we released a couple of years back. This would have been about 2015. This is the Wisconsin Central version. Now I'm going to zoom in on this guy, but I want you to keep in mind that this is not exactly what we're going to be talking about tonight. It's based on what we're going to be talking about. But the developers at Athearn have been busy reworking the tooling. This is all going to be, it's almost new tooling with so much work that they've done to them. These were based on the old MDC cars from back in the day, and the dimensions were just not correct. The new versions are going to be accurately dimensional, actual dimensions based on actual dimensions. So all new work has gone into this tooling. So here we go, starting with the first round of cars. And keep in mind, these are not the same cars. I'm just kind of using that as a representation of what they look like. Dimensions are all going to be accurate to the prototype. So the first one I've got here is the Bayline. This is a prime for grime example. We're going to be offering this in 3 different road numbers. This is appropriate for a car that would be seen in service from 2006 on up. And again, all new tooling, all new accurate dimensions. I had a lot of people asking about Canadian. So here we go, CP for 21. Perfect time. So all you guys that are doing contemporary modeling, here you go, Canadian Pacific, 3 different road numbers. Now let's go back a little bit. This would be about 1979, of course, the MDW. Again, 3 different road numbers and accurate dimensions. We could almost justify that these are brand new cars. That's how much tooling has been put into these. But we couldn't quite say that. but these are a lot of work have gone into these cars to make them much more accurate than their predecessors. Here's one that you probably haven't seen in a while. New Orleans Public Belt Railroad. Cool car, cool paint scheme. This is perfect for you guys that are modeling anywhere from 1977 on up. 3 different road numbers included in this run. And then lastly, another prime for grime for you. This is the Quebec Gatineau Railway Incorporated. 3 different road numbers. This is 1990s. It's really cool because it's a prime for grime, and will look right at home on anybody's 1990s to modern day contemporary railroading. So besides the accurate dimensions, besides all that tooling that we've done, here's some other things that developers have thrown into these cars. They're going to have photo etch crossover platforms. All of the grab irons, the end ladders, the brake wheel, all of that is separate. 33-inch machine metal wheels. Of course, they're going to be weighted to NMRA standards, body-mounted McHenry couplers, and of course, highly detailed injection molded body. But remember, that molded body is not the same body that we had a few years ago. This is a whole new, for all intents and purposes, a whole new boxcar. Now, what's the minimum radius that you can run these on? 18 inches. So if you've got a small layout, it doesn't matter if you've got a little 4x8 layout that you run every now and then, these will work perfectly fine on those. They'll also work perfectly fine on a shelf layout, modular layout, club layout. Now, N scale guys, everything that I've shown you tonight, you're going to have the same thing. We're offering this same car in N scale. Now, this is going to be in the Athearn line. It's not going to be quite as detailed as what we just talked about with the HO guys. But we are offering everything that you saw as far as the road names. We're offering those in N scale as well. We're doing them in prime for grime, like the Bayline and the QGR. We're doing those in prime for grime. We're doing those in 2 different road numbers. All the other roads are also being done in 2 different road numbers. And as far as features for the N scale guys, they're going to have a much more scale profile brake wheel. In the past, they're kind of chunky looking. They've been refined since then. They're going to have roller bearing trucks, and something that some manufacturers are now starting to do, but Athearn was one of the first, screw mounted trucks. N scale guys, you probably are used to those little pins, and we all know those pins. It's kind of hard to fine tune your car. Ours actually have a screw, much like their HO scale counterparts, and that gives you a little bit more fine tuning than what you'd have with a pin. The nice thing about these that I really like about these is they'll operate on all types of different tracks. So your standard, let's say code 80, like you would have on N track or T track, code 55, like you'd have on Fremo layout, and they'll operate on all of those different codes without any issues. Of course, they're weighted to NMRA standards. And another nice feature about these N scale cars, body mounted couplers. McHenry couplers, but body mounted. And this is so much better than the old Talgo couplers we had a few years ago. Minimum radius on these guys, 9 3/4. So like I said, from the smallest T-track module all the way to the biggest club layout, these things will operate just fine. So with that, I wanted to let you guys know you have until Friday. You only got a few days. If you want to look at these cars more, you can go to our website at athearn.com, go to the new releases banner, select that, and you can download the PDFs that we have on these items, as well as look at them individually, give you an idea which ones you want to add to your collection, and pre-order these with your dealer. So with that, let's see if we got any questions on these cars. And I'm going to leave that up there since that's such a cool car. Okay, so I see some guys asking, and you know, they say this every week. Can you do this locomotive? Can you produce this boxcar? Guys, really, the best thing to do is go to athearn.com, go to contact us, okay, and go to Athearn product suggestions at athearn.com. That goes right to development. Now, you're not going to get a conversation with these guys because they're busy. Obviously, they're doing a lot of work on making new models as well as updating some old favorites. But they are collecting all that information, and we really do appreciate all the information that you send us because it does make the developer's job somewhat easier. They know what the next project should be. But that's your best bet. We see it. We see the comments on Facebook and other social media. We see it here. But honestly, your best bet is to throw it into that Athearn product suggestion. All right, let's see what other questions we've got here. Looking for the New Orleans car. Yeah, it's been a while since we've offered that. Harold's happy about the CP. I mean, these cars are going to be absolutely beautiful in both HO and N scale. Donnie's got a cool question, and he's like, will Athearn ever put cruise in its locos? It's a good question. I mean, we do put a lot of detail in the cabs of our locomotives, especially in the Genesis series. I don't know. It's hard selling. For right now, though, we're not going to do that. We're going to let you, the modeler, do that because, honestly, I think you've probably seen some manufacturers do something like that in the past, and it becomes rather generic, and they all look the same. I know a lot of you guys out there are creative, and there's some really great figures out there that are produced, mass that can be found through the hobby shop as well as online, that you can kind of make your own finishing touches to those figures and add them to your cab. I've seen some really great modeling out there. So for the time being, we're not going to be doing that. Doesn't mean we won't ever do that, but for the time being, we're probably not going to do that. I'm going to go down here and see what questions we have. In these here, Terry, no, we're not offering in this run any CSX or NS. Just what you see here tonight. JD, I have to laugh because I can't participate in that, but you guys viewing out there, absolutely. Yeah, it's just a friendly reminder, guys, because 9 times out of 10, if you put your suggestion on here and I'm looking at screens or I'm running stuff in the background, I'm not going to see it. So it really does benefit you as well as our development staff to get those emails. Thanks for making me smile, JD. Let's see. HL Scale Ram fan says, and pushing our budgets. Isn't that the truth? I mean, there's so much good stuff coming out right now. Like I said, those GP7s, like the Banger and Aroostook that I was running earlier in the show, those are going to be here in a few weeks. If you missed those pre-orders, don't forget, we've got those GP7s. In fact, let's go ahead and segue into that. Let's see what we've got. I'm going to share some pictures with you. That's what I'm going to do. Now, Tony Cook over at White River Productions, he was kind enough to send us some pictures. And we're going to go ahead and add those pictures. So this is one of the paint schemes that we're going to be doing. Some people call it the billboard paint scheme or the pinstripe paint scheme. Personally, one of my favorites of the Santa Fe. We're going to be offering this in the Genesis GP7s. Now, these pre-orders will close after Friday. So if you're a Santa Fe fan and you're modeling the 1960s, these are definitely you're going to want to put these on your list. Now, we're doing something really cool with these. We're doing a Prime for Grime version that's a mid-70s. And we're also doing 1960s, and we're also doing a 70s version with a B unit. A lot of people were asking for the Santa Fe B units, and so we went ahead and did that on this run. Let's see what else Tony sent us. And by the way, this is 1970. This was in Denver. This was taken by a Stuart J. Sutton. 1970. Another great picture, another great angle. A lot of cool stuff in this picture. This is 1975. Another Stuart J. Sutton picture. For you fans of cars of the 60s and 70s, that is just an eye full of Detroit eye candy, as well as couple of German cars in there. 1975. Really, that paint scheme is still holding up really well. Going to my neck of the woods, here is 563. This was taken by Doug Boyd. This was July 8th, 1983. Now, we are offering 563 more as it looked like in 1975 when it was first repainted. Now, one of the cool things about 563, and one of the reasons why we chose it, is while it had the Harvest paint scheme, it didn't have the same nose herald as the other locomotives. And I'll illustrate that here in a moment. If you look carefully at 563, and I'm going to zoom in, you can see partially the slogan on the nose of the Pine Tree Route. Typically, that was a square or a green rectangle with that lettering in it. 563 was the only one to have that. And I'll show you the example. We'll zoom in on 574, same paint scheme. So it's kind of a reverse. Really cool. Now the 567 that you see here in this 1978 Jim Boyd picture, that is an offering that we did a few years back. This time we're offering the main central in both the Harvest 563, and we're also doing the simplified green, which is a variation of the multi-stripe that you see in this picture and the Harvest that you see in here, but it was a green version. They only painted a few of those. That really striking simplified color scheme. It's never been done before in Genesis, and we're happy to offer it this time. Now, for you guys that are hardcore Main Central fans, we have reached out to the Boston and Maine Historical Society. I had the pleasure of talking to Mr. Rick K. Fury, who is a wealth of information, has many books written actually on the Boston and Maine and railroading in New England in general. And he provided us with many pictures of the Main Central GP7s. We were also able to get color samples. So we've done a lot of work on the Main Central units, and also the Main Central units are going to have some new tooling we've never offered before. So if you've been on the fence on Main Central units, I know I've got my order in. I am not going to wait until next year. Now, another locomotive we've not done in the Genesis series was the as-delivered Reading units. Here you can see 611 trundling down in this 1962 picture. Now, these ran long hood forward. Real dark, almost like a Brunswick green paint scheme. Rather simple, but elegant at the same time. Here's 622. This is photographed by Walt Grossfinger, July of 1963. Looks like you got a little passenger special there. Here's a cool picture. You've got number 630, followed by a GP30, 3600, followed by another Jeep 7, 611. A few eagle-eyed guys may remember when we did the November announcements, we kind of zoomed in on 630 to kind of give you an idea of what we were going to be offering. We have not done Reading Jeeps as delivered in the GP7 line before, so this is the first time. Cool yard shot here. We got 634. Now, for you guys that model the Western Pacific, We're offering the Western Pacific as well, 3 different road numbers. Thing that really makes the Western Pacific locomotive stand out, of course, is check out the headlight. I mean, that is just cool. That is something that is definitely um, a Western Pacific thing. That's the Pile National barrel style headlight. Of course, the Genesis, since these are Genesis locomotives, they're going to include that. These are going to be as they appeared in the 1950s. We're offering these in 3 different road numbers, but I wanted to show you these really cool pictures. A really elegant paint scheme. Now, these were much later. This particular one here was in 1971. Here's a great overview. 1975. So even though we're offering them as delivered 1950s, you can run these into the 70s, no problem. A little bit of weathering may be required of you. Now, don't forget, we're also doing the Conrail units. We're doing 3 different Conrail units. Each one is really interesting because there's different variations. And those are based on Reading locomotives. Yes, in the Santa Fe. So if you've been looking for one, Harold, you've only got a few more days to pre-order one. Now, don't forget, we're not only doing just the GP7s. We're doing the second run of the AC 4400s. You can see those complete list of which roads we're going to be doing at the Athearn.com website. And don't forget, this is a brand new model for us. This is going to have all the lighting features that you guys were asking for, including not just your headlights and your ditch lights, but your illuminated number boards, your ground lights, walkway lights. You're going to have dual sugar cube speakers if you go with the Tsunami 2 setup. And of course, so many more road specific details just on that locomotive. If you really want to dive deep, go to our YouTube channel, the Athearn YouTube channel, and look up the really in-depth Behind the Development Door series where John, our lead developer, talks about the AC 4400 in detail and talks about how much each locomotive is different. It's mind-boggling to see how much work went into these locomotives. So if you're a modern guy and you're looking for some newish 6-axle GEs, the AC 4400 is probably going to be your ticket. We're offering a lot of great roads in this run. You have until Friday the 25th. Don't forget, too, we've got those new NSC 6400 gondolas, and that's all new tooling. Guys that are going to Amherst here in about another month or 2, we're hoping we're going to have a surprise for you. All right, so with that, I've got a time for maybe 1 or 2 questions, and then I'm going to let you get back to your layout. Maybe I'll get back to my layout, and I will be seeing you Friday. That's right, this Friday, 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to be coming out with the December announcements. Hard to believe that 2022 is wrapping up, but yes, December is coming, and with it, our new announcements. We're sure to have something that will make you want to add it to your fleet. Let's see what kind of questions we have here tonight. Any hints on next month's announcements? I'll have to think about that. Yeah, everybody's asking for hints. Here's a hint. Don't forget your GP7s, your AC 4400s, or your NSC gondolas, because we only have a few more days. You don't want to be left standing without one of those next year at this time. Butch seems pretty happy. He says, Northeast coverage, thumbs up. Boston to Maine, Maine Central, 85% of my motive power that I run On my layout operations. Cool, Butch, and thanks for joining us. Yeah, we try every month to come out with not just different locomotives from different eras and different freight cars, but we also try to get a wide variety of roads. We don't want to just concentrate on Western roads. We don't want to concentrate just on Midwestern or Northeastern roads. We try to run a little bit of everything. And that was true this month, especially with the GP7s. We had some um, stuff from the West, of course, the Santa Fe and the Western Pacific, and stuff from the Northeast, a little bit of Conrail. You guys had been asking for Conrail, so we went ahead and got you some Conrail. Let's see what else we've got for questions. Terry wants to know about the P42 delivery date. Yeah, we've had some delays on those, obviously. We're getting a lot of that right now. We're probably looking, if I remember my ETAs correctly, we're probably looking at around March or so. So I apologize. It's a little bit later than what you were probably wanting to hear, but we are experiencing a lot of delays, mainly in shipping. All right. So somebody wanted a hint. I'm going to give you a hint. For you guys that are doing shelf layouts, I think you're going to be happy. I'm just going to leave it at that. We've done a lot of 6-axle power lately. We've done some first generation, second generation 4-axle. So I think you probably can figure out what we're going to do in December. One of many things. In fact, we've got a lot of things we're going to discuss on Friday. All right, I've got time for one more question. I know we went a little bit longer tonight, but there was a lot I wanted to cover, and we still got through it despite Microsoft's efforts. Stephen Wagner with a programming note for you guys. Amherst Railway Society show at the Big E, or if you're like me and you're a New Englander, we just call it the big one. It's in West Springfield, Mass. It is scheduled to be live on Saturday and Sunday before Super Bowl weekend in 2023. Now, we are going to be there. I am looking forward to being there and seeing some of you guys from that part of the country. I had a great time at Train Fest meeting folks from all over Central United States and some a little further. So I'm looking forward to going to the Amherst show and seeing a lot of you guys. And we're going to have some great stuff for you to look at. All right, with that, first of all, for all of you out there that celebrate, if you're part of the United States or maybe you're somewhere else, but you identify as a United States citizen, I want to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. We'll be celebrating that in a few days. I'm sure I'll have gained some pounds when I come to you on Friday at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time with the new announcements. I'll probably sit for that show. I want you all to have a safe Thanksgiving and enjoy being with your loved ones and be thankful for everything that we have and be thankful for your hobby dealer. So after you're done eating and consuming and watching whatever games that you watch, visit your dealer on Friday, place those last minute pre-orders. That way you've got some new stuff to run on your layout next year. And again, people ask occasionally, why do you always say high greens, Jim? Quickly, many years ago, rail fanning the BNSF on the old CNI in Northern Illinois, my scanner by my side in my Jeep Wrangler, I was watching a crew in a Dash 9 at a signal. They had a hard stop at that signal, and I could hear them on my scanner while I was photographing the locomotive. And dispatcher finally gave them clearance. I believe they were headed towards Rochelle, and the dispatcher basically said high greens, meaning that the signals are green and he could proceed at the designated speed. And with that, I want to say happy Thanksgiving one more time. Thank you for joining us tonight. Be happy, be healthy, Eat slowly. See you Friday at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And above all, everybody, high greens.